Mureșan, Erase and Rewind. Erase and Rewind, Adela Mureșan.
The room was packed with people, unfamiliar faces. It was my first impromptu speech in front of a crowd, and I was already regretting the decision. I unfolded that tiny bit of paper, hoping that it would be something that I knew how to talk about. Praying to God it would be something I learned in school, just like when you were asked to speak in front of the class. And as I unfolded that bit of paper and I read the sentence, I said, oh my God, I have to invent something? And then you have 20 seconds. 20 seconds where you have to come up with a speech. And your mind is as blank as a sheet of paper. But you have 20 seconds in which you can arrange your thought, but instead you are looking for your brain. As if you had misplaced it. Maybe on the sofa this morning, oh my God, my brain, I have to think. I have to come up with something. And everything you were up to that point, everything you've learned, all your titles, your status, means zip. You have to invent something. You have to come up with something. And the footage of your life is erased in that moment. Your heart is pounding. Your palms are sweating. You're trying to catch a breath. And finally, you forget who you are. Fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, have you ever felt like you had lost your sense of self? As if your entire footage of your life has been erased, and all you could do was film it once again with a cast that was poorly prepared. If you haven't, you probably will. Because as Shakespeare said, life is a stage. What he forgot to mention is that we don't get proper training, so we improvise as we go along. And we have to start over. I had to start over many times before my impromptu speech. And it wasn't pleasant. I had to start over, for example, when my long-term relationship had gone to that stage where we were taking dance classes. And everything was on a romantic tune. We were making steps together, and suddenly the music stopped with the words, "It's over." And then you forget who you are. And life just pulls the carpet underneath your feet. And you're trembling, and you're trying to find your balance. And faced with this new decision and with this new situation of starting over, you ask yourself, okay, dating. Is that new? Did they change something about it? Can I get a book on it? Erase and rewind. And I had many other options when I had to start over again. For example, when I was looking for my first job, moving into a new city, finding my new career, an extraordinary life, picturing myself doing extraordinary things, because that's the deal. You have good grades, and life pays up in fat paychecks. So I went proudly to my job interviews with all my achievements in a bag and with a best-in-class label. And confidently I walked up to them and I showed my bag full of gold. And I was holding on to it because it was who I thought I had become and who I thought I could be. And when I showed all my achievements and I said, "This is me," they said, "We're sorry, it's devalued currency." So I had to drop my achievements and my best-in-class label and start over. They said I had to upgrade. They said I had to learn new skills. So I took a job as a technical writer. And as glamorous as that may sound for someone who has graduated literature and foreign languages, it was a downgrade. I had to go from extraordinary characters and events and fiction to simple technical sentences. So I had to erase everything I valued about literature, back it up on an external hard drive, and start an installation process. And as I was looking for my user manuals to train for this job, I was learning how to uninstall my own life. Because every installation process requires you to back up things from your past and install new things. Then is when I came across a very important phrase in those technical manuals. In technical documentation, we don't use the future tense, we use present tense, because the future tense causes the users to worry. And this is how this became a philosophy in my own life. Going back to my impromptu speech moment, fast forwarding, my mind was erased. I had to rewind. I was looking at the audience. They were waiting for an answer. They didn't know me. And then it clicked. I could reinvent myself in front of them. And I said the first sentence that didn't make any sense. I said, 2 weeks ago, I was arrested for barking at a dog. And the audience laughed. And then I added another sentence that didn't make sense to me at the time, but which added to the story and to my own story. I learned that I had to forget who I was, so I could find out who I could become. Fellow Toastmasters, dear guests, losing your sense of self allows you to learn who you can become and install the best version of yourself. If you could install the best version of yourself, what would you uninstall today? Mr. Contest Chair.